And so for us, the challenge we're facing right now as a city is that Denver has a reputation for not being a business-friendly city. We've seen 20 years of economic growth from 2000 to 2020, and a lot of that offered opportunities for maybe our legislature, maybe our city council to be able to, put in more rules and regs, and we've seen a lot of that kind of pile on over the years. Things have become more of a challenge, where it used to take maybe 3 months to get a permit. Sometimes we hear folks saying it takes a year or 18 months or even 2 years. And that to me is something that we have to overcome. We have to be more efficient as a city. We have to be more responsive to the needs of businesses. And we really have to focus on how do we be more customer oriented and treat our businesses like customers. And so what I'm proud to say that the mayor's done earlier this year in May was really sign in executive order to launch the Denver permitting office. And the goal of that is really twofold. One, it is to be customer oriented. It's to change the way we deal with businesses to really say, hey, you're a customer. We have to deliver a service to you. We need to be responsive to you. And sometimes we've heard on that the opposite exists, that it goes into a black hole and then you can't get any customer service on the other end when you're issuing for a permit. So we want to change that narrative, and having really kind of focused customer orientation is key to that work. And then the other side of it is to be predictable. We don't want folks to be waiting a year or 18 months or 2 years to get a permit. We want to know exactly how long it's going to take as maximum so that you can act. We've put in this 180-day kind of shot clock. When you enter your application, it's our job at the city, when the permitted applications are with us, to complete that process in 180 days on our end. So again, it puts us into a situation where we need to be predictable, we need to be customer oriented, and that's how we're looking at everything that we do with regards to businesses. One of the areas that I'm looking at when it comes to our new strategic plan is really focused on this idea of business acceleration. How do we be somebody who's accelerating the pace of business in the city? And so when I think about that, I think of how do we look at all the things that are making it more difficult to do business right now? How do we prioritize those about what have the biggest effect? And then how do we come up with a solution or a best practice in another city? How can we bring those into Denver? One of the ways we're addressing that right now is with food and beverage. We've had a lot of conversations with the food and beverage community, our restaurant community. We've seen a lot of restaurants close down in the last couple of years. There's a lot of reasons for that, mainly because costs are going up. It's harder to do business with the restaurant industry. A good restaurant makes 5 cents on the dollar at the end of the day. And so when we start adding more costs that we all are seeing, whether that's food costs or specifically with labor costs, we've seen the tip credit issues at the state level, it makes it really hard for folks to do business. So we've been partnered with Visit Denver, bringing in a food and beverage consultant, and we're specifically trying to say, help us understand where the pain points are, where best practices from other cities exist, and let's implement those here in Denver. We want to be a city that's known for our food and beverage. We want to be a city that's known for cultivating restaurants and bars and creating that economic engine, because they're really important to not only our economy, but they're also important to our cultural fabric. Living in a great city is a place where you can go to good restaurants, have good food, and be able to afford it. I don't live too far from here. My wife and I and my kids, we come to Cherry Creek often. Great restaurants, great food scene here, and we need to nurture that and cultivate it and not take it for granted. And so that's what we're working on right now, and we're hoping to announce who that food and beverage consultant will be in the next probably week or two. So more work happening on that, but that's just one example of how we're really trying to address it. The other thing that we're really focused on as well, in terms of business friendliness, is how can we invest in our businesses as a whole and invest in economic growth. And so we're seeing that in a couple ways.